how we do what we do as much as we can together, rather than doing something to them or for them, or just saying we're involved. And we actually do stuff together. The results up here, it's not certainly not all of the results, but one of the big things that's come out of this is the type of training and our approach to it, and the education that we're able now to deliver to people with disabilities within our sphere. And it's a combination of really hard work, but also some really good luck with the people that we've met and the people we've worked with, including yourselves. At an early stage, we thought it was all about accommodation, finding places for the guys to live. We quickly learned that it's not. It's an awful lot more. The accommodation is just one element of it. So this was done by the lads this morning, and Laura, and things like being able to use a computer, being able to interact with IT. Money was a huge thing, and literacy, the persistence in doing the thing. This says 158 years of brewing without a coffee break, and the lads thought this represented their training. We actually had the good luck to have our first group for almost a year under training, and we constructed a training apartment purpose-built for people with intellectual disability. That was from funding that we got from the Genio Trust, which is a philanthropic group where they use philanthropic funding. And so we have an excellent training program, which we're more than happy to share with anybody who wants to look at it. So that's been a major result, and it's hugely satisfying to see that it's now gone to train the trainer, and having our service users here this morning doing the teaching and doing the instruction. And as I said earlier today, I think one of the most satisfying moments for me from my entire time as stewards was walking into our auditorium and seeing Martin in a beautiful suit, as usual, delivering a lecture on household things and housekeeping, and not only delivering the content, but controlling the group and managing the group, and dealing with anybody who was getting distracted, or giving instructions on how to leave the room, where the fire escape was, and all that sort of thing, and turn off your mobile phone, and if you start talking too loud, I'll throw you out. So Martin is one example of that group. Considering that when we took Martin into the programme, he was I think something like 62 years old, and I was told by the professionals he'd never amount to anything because he couldn't read or write. Now he's reading, writing and teaching, which constantly underpins the liberation of possibilities for people. One of the things the professionals are guilty of, and the carers, is that they constantly grossly underestimate the capability and capacity of people. Families do it as well. The guys learned about teamwork, the Three Musketeers you met this morning. They learned important social skills, like how to say no, how to avoid being people pleasers. In the sort of institution stewards is, you often see that behaviour in service users. They want to please their carers. These guys have learned how to say no, I don't want to do that, or I want to do something else, so that's not okay. The challenges, this cartoon is refers to the getting funding for development, and it's a guy holding up a shop and saying, okay, she's saying, okay, take a penny and make it an even 300. Getting funding or diverting funding or perverting funding or stealing or vaping or borrowing funding is a constant challenge, and we're always chasing that. And this one is fighting our captors. The institutionalisation. It says your captors on the phone, they want to know where you are. That's been one of our big challenges. When we took the guys out to Adamstown, my colleagues were telling me, you know, they were expecting failure, that HICWA, the regulatory body, will catch up with us. And at any sign of little problems that we've had, we're very quick to jump on the board and say, oh God, you need to get the psychiatrist involved, or you know, we need to go backwards. Self-medication was a massive battle, and it's an ongoing battleground to get that away from depression. Another one that's been a challenge for them is developing their own relationships, and like a lot of human beings, our guys want to have relationships, they want to get married. One of our people in Anderson is getting married in August, and why not? But the system has always fought against that. The philosophy was always, not on our watch, that's not going to happen. That was a big challenge for them. Another challenge is to keep your energy up, because it's a long, hard chipping away a bit at a time. You need, and I'll mention that again in the way forward in terms of resilience. One of them picked this: adulting is hard. We've always treated them as eternal children. And now all of a sudden they're adults. They don't need our permission. For a little while, some of the guys would ask me for permission for simple things like, is it okay for me to go and ride my bicycle? And I would put it back on them to make the decision, because they're adults now. And adulting is hard. We find that with our own children, that transition into adult life is hard. We've entitled it Stewards on Escapology. We talk about escape and getting up to escape velocity, getting out of the gravity of the pull of the gravity of the institutions. The progress we're making now, we're measuring in large measures. It was on tiny little measures. Now we're seeing things like you've seen today on the train. One of our people referred to her involvement in our program as the day that changed everything. As soon as they took that first step across the threshold, everything changed. Okay, in terms of there's more success over here. The success, they have little successes like being able to use public transport, for example. Edward, one of our great successes, he got a full-time job in a big restaurant in South Dublin, and he started by travelling on the train and then the light rail, the Lewis to it, and he got very impatient waiting for the train. So then he started using the buses, and he got even more impatient waiting for the buses. So then he got the bicycle, and he cycles to work, and he doesn't have to wait anymore. He actually gets to work quicker on the bicycle than he would. So using public transport. Edward also books his own holidays and travels all over Ireland with bus tours and this and that. And you know, once or twice, spectacularly, he went astray. And he made a call back to base, and he relaxed and got himself a cup of tea and a sandwich and found his way back. So learning how to make mistakes and survive them, and as in all areas of human endeavour, we will make mistakes, and that's okay. In the institution, you're not allowed to make mistakes. They're encouraged not to make any mistakes. In fact, we dislike mistakes so much that we do everything for them. That's a great success, moving away from that. I think Laura put in, I remember that day as the first day of a very new me. Moving them out really out of the community, for example, taking them away from the Stewards medical group and into their own GPs has helped them and enabled them to handle their own medication. For the future, one of them wants to learn to drive. We have one of the guys who lives in Anderson has his driving license and he drives, and he's an expert on cars. Some of them have opened their own credit union accounts, and they manage their own money, manage their own life. They do regard Anderson as their home. One or two would like to have their own home. They all like the idea of having good paid employment. We based a lot of what we've done on the SRV, social role valorisation, and not just helping people to learn independent skills and have their own apartment, but to become valuable members of their society and their community. And part of our programme is aimed at that kind of integration and introduction to their people in their local community. And that's happening. They're becoming more and more involved. The whole thing is aimed, or our particular programme at this stage has been aimed at creating something that can't be stopped, and that it becomes self-fueling, self-repairing. The biggest advocates for more people coming into the programme are the people who are already in it. And I constantly get approaches from new people who say, I've been talking to Martin, or I've been talking to Edward, he tells me it's great, can I join in? So, whereas my colleagues in the institution tell us, no, God, you can't do that, you can't take them out. I had a guy approach us last week, who we know very well, and he said he wants to make the move. And when one of the team went in to talk to him and his staff, they were horrified that we didn't contemplate moving him out. And when she asked why, he said, well, he can't shave himself. And she said, well, have you ever taught him how to shave? Have you ever given him a chance? Oh no, that's not in our curriculum. So the pull of that gravity is enormous. I tend to regard, as much as I love Stewards, I tend to regard it as the front end of the Titanic going down, and it hasn't even hit an iceberg yet. But it's sinking, and it's sinking more rapidly. And so it's a bit like Gorbachev and communism. I worked in Russia around the time of the fall of communism, and Gorbachev made the mistake of thinking he could reform communism. He couldn't. It had to be broken. And certain things we have to be prepared to break in order to rebuild. Culture change, we talk a lot about persuading our colleagues, persuading professionals, and